Hello, and welcome to the Study Abroad Pod. Today, we're thrilled to introduce Cesia Cordies, a current USAC student studying abroad in Lyon. Normally, Cesia calls the University of Nevada, Las Vegas home, but she's fully embraced the adventure of living in France. Despite the challenges, she's thriving, practicing her third language, building new friendships, studying, volunteering, and immersing herself in French culture. She'll be joining Colette Horton, our USAC Alumni Content Coordinator, to share her experience of life as a local in Lyon and what it's like to balance academics with the joys of everyday French life.
Welcome back to the Study Abroad Pod. Today, I get to chat with Cesia, who is an absolute doll, a UNLV alum, well, soon to be a UNLV alum like myself. Go Rebels. Cesia, how are you today? What time is it in France?
Hi, I'm good, and thank you for that intro. It's 6:04 p.m.
Oof. And I am on the East Coast, and it is only 1:05 p.m. The sun is shining so delightfully through the window. How was your day today? The nostalgia is so real for me because I'm a Lyon alum.
It was good. I've been in Lyon for, I believe this is week 9, which is crazy. I think that means we're like officially in the second half. I went out on like a solo date today. I took myself on a date and I just went to a cafe this morning and then I went looking for a mug. I wanted like a souvenir mug and I finally found a cute little one. And then I was going to go shopping, but it was like 12:30 and places start to close at 1. So I was like, no, I'm just gonna go home. And that I did.
That sounds very cozy, very lovely. Usually I talk to alumni on the podcast, so it's super fun that you're there now. You described like every other Saturday, I would say. The cafes were maybe my favorite thing because like I didn't have a single bad croissant in Lyon. Like you could,
Honestly,
some are better, but have you had a bad one yet?
not a bad one. I've had some mid ones, but not
Oh,
bad.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Although, I tried snails, like I thought I was going to hate the texture, but I really
Yeah.
didn't.
Oh,
I
that's
admit
good.
though, I was so scared when I tried them that I didn't even really like taste and savor them. But then after I
Oh
got
my
it done, I was
gosh.
like, wait, that actually wasn't bad. I could have definitely savored that a little bit more.
So when you're going around the city, when you're eating cafes at the restaurants and stuff, like are you using French all the time? Do you feel like your French has gotten better since you've been there?
I've definitely gotten more comfortable with my French. I was not expecting to be as nervous as I was because I feel like I'm already at a pretty conversational level with French, but there was still an adjustment period when I got here. It did not matter how conversational I was in French because I was so nervous. I'm just getting more and more comfortable with that. I did notice when I'm having an interaction with a cashier or a waiter or whatever, and they haven't heard me speaking to whoever I'm with in English and they don't know I speak English yet, I can
Mm-hmm.
get away with the whole interaction in French. But the
Yes.
second they find out you speak English, it's like they have an
Mm-hmm.
itch to switch for you. So the second
Yes.
you hesitate or you don't understand something or anything, they'll switch.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a little challenging, like hearing in one language, like hearing in English and still trying to respond in French to be
Mm-hmm.
stubborn. I don't know. I guess I just found a little hack for it. So I try to go out alone more now so they don't hear me
Yeah.
speaking English and I can.
No, that's a good call. I always would ask, mostly at restaurants, if it's a sit down restaurant or something, or if there's a waiter or waitress, if they switch to English, I would always say, like, and then you don't have to do this because I think it just kind of depends on the person. But as long as it wasn't super busy, I'd be like, oh, like, actually, I'm a French student. Is it all right if I practice my French with you? And usually the response was like, oh, of course, we're so happy to do that. I always felt bad when it was a real rush and somebody would switch to English because I'm like, oh, you're just trying to like get things done.
People are really nice generally. So
Yeah,
there's
no,
really
for
nothing to be
sure.
afraid of. Maybe I'll give that a try instead of just being stubborn.
I found most people being like,
Hmm.
yes, of course. Yes, now we speak
Okay.
French. Pretty accommodating. That's one thing I also really appreciated about Olga. She is so easy to talk to because I said I wanted to practice French. She would always just be very patient and just, wait for you to get your thought out and was just so sweet and so great about it.
Yeah, no, I really like speaking to Olga in French as well. Sometimes after
Mhm.
the conversation, I'll realize, I mean, every time when I'm done speaking to anyone in French, after any French
Mhm.
interaction, there's a solid 10 minutes afterwards where I'm repeating it over in my head and I
Uh-huh.
realize I made some mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, they didn't even say anything.
Yeah.
Right. So, which is actually, I mean, you kind of need, you can't be corrected on every single mistake you make.
Have there been any local events in the city since you've been there?
Yes, there have been a few events. There was one I went to. I can't remember what it was called, but I know what it was about, but I can't tell you what it's about. I can't put it into words. Like I didn't understand it well enough
Girl,
to put it into words.
I went to a place. I don't know the name of the
It's super
place.
mysterious. I can't
It
really
was
tell
a
you.
oh my
No, no,
goodness.
no. It's okay. So it was. I mean, it was basically about Lyon. I believe when it was called Lugdunum. I'm not sure that's how you pronounce it, but something like
Hmm.
that. Yeah, that's what it used to be called. And they basically had a bunch of people in historical clothing, and they were doing
Mhm.
activities people would be doing back then. And it was like right by the museum. It's called the Gallo-Roman Museum of Lyon,
Okay.
Fourvière.
Okay. Very cool. I did not check that one out. Are you excited for like winter in Lyon? Like,
I
yeah?
cannot wait to do Christmassy stuff. Apparently, there's some place here that already, I can't even remember what it was. Is it
No?
like a, I don't know, I think it's like kind of a chocolate shop or something.
Mm.
But they're apparently started decorating like Christmas
Oh my
themed stuff, which is
goodness.
surprising because it's October, but whatever, I'm not complaining.
I mean,
Um,
the
so I'm
decorations
really
are out
excited.
here.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
know it doesn't get like, I know December isn't like the coldest month here,
Hmm.
but I don't know. I'm gonna hope for at least a little bit of snow before I leave. I know it's very
Oh.
unrealistic, but still.
When do you leave?
December 19th.
Okay. How have you found like getting around the city? Has it been pretty easy? I'm familiar with Vegas. There's not a metro in Vegas. So how is that for you, like coming to Lyon and like,
Listen, I was terrified because I've never taken, I mean, I've taken public transport technically, like when I was a kid with
hmm
my mom, but I don't remember any of that. I was just following my mom. So I just kind of took public transport with people who already understood it and would ask them all sorts of annoying questions. And they didn't always have answers, which is really annoying because to them, some things I guess are just instinctual. Now that I have an idea of like how it works, it's super easy. I literally had no idea what I was getting myself into.
How long do you think
Depending on
it
the
took for you to be like comfy though?
comfy.
Like comfy taking a metro, not anywhere crazy, right? So like if you're gonna take the bus home,
Mm-hmm.
like
Well,
how long
yeah,
do you
okay.
think it took?
That I think by the second week
Yeah.
I could do. Normally, I was also always like meeting with somebody. So I'd be like, okay, I'll take this to there and then meet with them. And then the rest of the time, we'd be taking transport together and I could just look at what they're doing and ask questions because I would still not
Yeah.
really know what's going on. But feeling comfortable, like feeling like I knew what was going on and like I knew what stop was going to be next and everything.
Hmm.
And like feeling comfortable taking public transport because I'm like, okay, if I get lost, like I have some idea of what's going on.
Yeah.
Like going to a brand new place alone with public transport. I don't know, honestly, probably like 5 weeks for me to
Yeah.
not be freaking out.
That's super fair, especially because like you literally had no experience with it. And
Mm-hmm.
also, I say this with love, you are a little bit of a nervous Nelly sometimes. So honestly,
Sometimes.
for a nervous Nelly getting it down after 5 weeks,
No, and but Colette, I
well done.
remember I asked before, like
Yeah.
there was an event. It was like a French club meeting at UNLV,
Oh
and
yeah,
there were
yeah.
people asking about study abroad things, and I was like, well, like, how did you find, using public transport there,
Mm.
like in a new city? And you were like, you'll figure it out. Like, you're gonna be fine. Honestly, like you'll figure. And I thought about that so much when I got
Oh
here because I was like,
no.
I'm not
I'm
figuring
so
it out,
sorry.
Colette.
I'm
I have no
so
idea what's
sorry,
going on.
Cecia. But look at you now. You asked people, you haven't been lost yet.
And honestly, the whole direction thing, I could
Hmm.
just use. It's on Google Maps. Like Google
Oh
Maps
yeah,
tells
yeah.
you, right?
Yeah.
And Google Maps tells you not just the like routes or the metro line, but it
Hmm.
then after that it tells you the stop name. But
Which
yeah,
you
no,
did.
it's actually very straightforward.
Yeah. But
I
if
just
you've never done it before, it's just like anything, right? Like riding a bike or whatever. Like there's always that growing pains period where you're like, no, this doesn't make sense. So I'm glad you've
yeah.
been able to successfully navigate it. And now you can have your comfy solo date days. This has been so nice. Also, like catching up, just by the way.
Yeah.
I'm I'm very happy to see you. What do you think has been like the biggest adjustment for you with this move?
I don't know, honestly.
Do you feel like you've had to be more extroverted? Hmm.
I haven't found it super difficult.
It doesn't have to be a difficult thing though. What do you think is the biggest change?
Honestly, yeah, probably that. And I'm going out way more than I would normally like.
Yeah.
I normally never get FOMO. I really don't care if I miss out.
Hmm.
But I do here because I'm only here for like a limited time in Lyon.
Yeah.
I know I have certain goals here.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Would you
and
be comfortable sharing your goals?
I mean, they're super vague, honestly. I just know, like,
Yeah.
for one, I knew I wanted to socialize with actual locals and like really
Mm-hmm.
prioritize that, talking to locals. Like, I still find it
Mm-hmm.
difficult to like make that a part of my everyday.
Yeah.
So,
Is it
yeah, I don't know.
difficult because of like the combo of speaking in French and putting yourself out there?
Yeah, definitely. It's the combination. I also think it's just me. It doesn't help that since normally I'm not even like a super social butterfly and like
Yeah.
my social battery definitely gets drained very quickly. I might find people that I think are like pretty cool and I get along with, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna talk to them every day. I guess trying to find a balance and also, even just going out with like people who aren't locals.
Yeah.
Um, I think I get a lot of FOMO with them as well.
I remember talking to you at UNLV because I worked in the international programs office, but also we had so many French classes together about whether or not, you were gonna study abroad and you kind of went back and forth a little bit. I feel like a lot of students, they assume that everybody who studies abroad wanted to study abroad and then we're like, yeah, I'm just gonna like go do that now. And then they study abroad and it's a super easy process. You know what I mean? Like those students exist and there's nothing wrong with them, right? That carefree attitude, but also, you know,
Yeah, I definitely don't have the carefree attitude, and it didn't help because there's a lot to the process, and just seeing how much there is was stressful for me. I mean, part of the reason I was on the fence about it for so long is because my financial aid wasn't super predictable for a
mm-hmm.
period. And then this last semester, I was just like, okay, I'm either going to do it or I'm not. So I'm going to try to go through the process as far as I can. Basically,
Yeah.
like I still didn't even trust I was really going to do it. But I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, one thing at a time. I'm going to start the process
Mm-hmm.
and see how far I can go. And then eventually I was like applying for a visa. And then I was traveling for my visa appointment. And then I got my visa. And I was like, okay, am I actually doing this? So it took
Yeah.
a long time for me to feel like, oh, okay, yeah, I am doing it. I wish I would have just had that mentality from the beginning because I think that is exactly what had allowed me to get into it because you really have to take it one step at a time. If you're constantly looking at it from a bigger picture perspective, it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
overwhelming. So I think I just got so much pressure off my shoulders with being like, you know what? If you can't get like make it to the next step, then whatever, you're just not gonna go. Which did make me a little sad because I did really want to study abroad. And
Yeah.
when I decided like, okay, I'm gonna actually look into this and take initiative with it, I really thought it was just gonna be like, yeah, I want to study abroad, and then I go abroad the next semester.
Mm.
And it wasn't that simple.
As far as like academics go, you're a senior, right? So
Yeah.
like how did you make it work? How did you figure out what you needed to take? What classes are you taking now? Do they all count towards your degree?
When I first picked France as my location, I was already almost done with my French minor, but I knew I wanted to study abroad in France regardless because I just wanted to make sure I was more comfortable with the language and, immersion is like the best way to do that. After deciding to go abroad, that would have brought me so much closer to a major. So now that I'm also a French major, all the classes I'll be taking, or that I'm taking right now will go toward that. I placed into a level a little higher than I had expected, so I can't tell you off the top of my head because I need to see it written down. I know it'll translate as 12 credits.
That's so awesome. What's your favorite class right now?
Ugh.
Ooh, actually, I'm going to change my question. So, what's your favorite class for content? What's your favorite class for French?
Hmm,
Yeah, like you get
that's
what I
a
mean?
good question. Honestly, for both of those, it's probably my USAC class. It's a sociology/anthropology class.
Yeah.
I just feel like I can express my actual thoughts in French a lot more comfortably in that class because it just feels a lot more laid back. There's way less students. There's actually only four of us in that class. It's one of the smaller
That's
classes.
awesome.
I don't think that's normal or common, but it's just a
Yeah.
very small class for us.
Mhm.
And yeah, that takes a lot of the pressure off. And it's not, I mean, obviously where we are in a constraint in some way because it's like we're talking about like the content of that class. But I don't know, it's not like in the United States. It's like, okay, here's a prompt, answer it or talk about it with your partner or whatever, where it feels a lot more structured. I think I have less to say because I'm only supposed to be talking to like speak French, not because I'm like that interested in the prompt. Yeah, so I think both for French and for content, I like that USAC elective. And I mean, obviously I'm learning more in those French classes, French wise, like, but I feel like I practice more in that USAC class because I find myself speaking in French more in that class. I mean, maybe not technically, I don't know, because the French classes are longer. I don't want to hear this and be like,
Yeah.
why are you speaking more in that class than than in your French language class? I
French
am
professor's
speaking in
gonna
my
be like,
French
excuse
language
me.
classes, but I ramble more in that USAC elective. I really like the content.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's called Islam in France, Multiculturalism and the Media.
Why did you pick that class?
For the first several classes, we were going over the history of Islam, so we had some information, some context to be able to start diving into the history of Muslims in France. But yeah, I mean, so we just got out of the history phase, and now we're going over the history of immigration from Algeria in France. And yeah, what was the other question? There were two
Oh,
questions
just
there.
like, why'd you pick that class?
I just found it very interesting. So I think one of the reasons I picked Lyon over Pau is because I really wanted to see what a metropolitan area looks like here with all the different communities that there are and how that looks different in France, but there's still just there's like a discourse around what the national identity is, how you can define it or describe it, especially in conversations around immigrants. And that's something that interests me a lot in the United States as well. I just really wanted to see what that looks like a little bit, I guess, in France. And obviously, a lot of the immigrants here are Muslim. So I thought I would learn more about that in an Islam in France class as well.
How would you compare the French classes you're taking, well, and the USAC classes you're taking at university? How would you compare that to your experience in the States?
Okay, I think
Like
it's really
teaching style,
cool.
all
Wait,
of
hold
it.
on a second. I just think it's really cool that there are international students like from other countries in our language classes here. I have never been around that many people from other countries. I don't know, like straight from
Mm-hmm.
other countries. I think it's really cool. I remember I was in an elevator one day, and on one side people were speaking Farsi, and on the other side people were speaking Russian. And I was like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, this is so cool.
Yeah.
And we were all in our French class, like we could all speak French as well, but they were just speaking in their languages. So yeah, I think that's really cool. Unfortunately, everyone who speaks French also speaks English, including the international students. So it's not like I'm forced to speak to them in French, but we can. So I just thought it was funny that like we had other languages we had in
Yeah.
common, but I don't
Are
know,
there any other
people.
students from Spanish-speaking countries that you can chat to in Spanish?
Yes, there are actually. There's an international student in my class from Venezuela, and I realized the
Mm-hmm.
other day she's the only person who I speak to in both French and Spanish. That was really cool, I
That's
think.
fun.
So I think that aspect of it, I think that makes the dynamic of the class a little bit different. I think it brings a lot of perspective into the conversations we're having. It's like a level that's supposed to get us to C1. So there's a lot of conversations about like, environment. We talk a lot about the environment because I guess it's a common topic in that exam. But obviously politics comes into that too, and just seeing how everyone treats the conversations and everything. It just brings
Mm-hmm.
in a
More
lot of perspective.
opinion-based conversations and things like that. Because
Learning to build an argument, reason, I guess. But I just think it's really cool. They're pretty stimulating conversations, I guess. So yeah, just the students in the class, like just that in itself is very different. Teaching style, yeah, it's different, but I need a second to think about that. I was a little scared that first week because the group you're in isn't really like solidified yet. Like you might, you the professor might think that you should move up or that you should move down. And
mm-hmm.
even though I was not expecting to be in the level that I'm in and all of that, I was like, no, I'm here now. You're not gonna move me down. So I was really scared
Yeah.
to make any mistakes. I did not want to get moved down, but I did
Mm-hmm.
not get moved down. And
Yay.
I'm a little more comfortable speaking up in class. It doesn't help that the conversations are they're not political, but they're just like about the environment and you just have to reflect so much. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm afraid to talk about this. Even in English, like when I talk about things like that, I'm so careful with my words. And I
Mm-hmm.
kind of can't be in French as much.
It's like painting a picture with literally less colors. And so you're
Yeah,
like, no, but it's not quite blue. I need it to be green, but I don't have green. So I need to pick an adjacent word and describe it until you learn
that's
more
exactly what
more
it's like.
words.
That's exactly what it's like. It's just a little more frustrating because in this class, like they're really trying to refine it a lot more. So when you do make choices
Mm-hmm.
like that for the sake of just getting your thought out, even if
Mm-hmm.
it's not exactly what you wanted, they will correct it, which is good because you learn. It's just a
Yeah.
lot to think about.
Yeah.
It's a lot
No, that
of,
totally
yeah.
makes sense. Especially when it's, I don't know, that makes me laugh because I'm like just remembering I didn't quite get to that debating level in French when I was at university, but I did in other languages I've studied, and just that moment of where they're like, "Oh, well, like, no, it's not quite that." And then they give you that word that you were searching for, and you're like, "I knew the word in English, but I didn't know it in French." But like, yes, that's what I meant. It makes me think of there's a quote that it's from Modern Family with Sofia Vergara, and she's talking about
Oh, you'd have no idea how smart I am in Spanish or something like that.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, she says it. I just love that because I think it's really healthy for people to remember that when they're learning other languages and when they're talking to other people in a language that is not the other person's first. It's not a reflection of your intelligence as a person. Being well spoken in any language is a skill. I'm so glad you knew exactly the quote I was talking about.
So many of the people you will speak to in French, I've
Mhm.
only met one person
Mhm.
who doesn't speak English here.
Mhm.
And it's actually one of my professors, which is awesome. It's in that class that, where I feel like I get to talk more in French and ramble more. And that might be
Mhm.
why, because she can't switch. So she's stuck with what I have to say, regardless.
Perfect.
But it is nice though that everyone speaks at least two languages. So they understand what's going on. They're not going to judge you based off of how well you're speaking the language. They're not going to judge your
Yeah,
like intelligence or anything based off of how well you're speaking the
exactly.
language. Sometimes after
Mhm.
the conversation, I'll realize, I mean, every time when I'm done speaking to anyone in French, after any French
Mhm.
interaction, there's a solid 10 minutes afterwards where I'm repeating it over in my head and I
Uh-huh.
realize I made some mistakes. I'm like, oh my God, they didn't even say anything. I mean, you can't be corrected on every single mistake you make. Another thing about how classes here are a little bit different. I remember I was
Mhm.
talking to some French students one time about how here the classes are longer, but I don't really mind because I feel like I'm not getting as much homework. And they were like, no, yeah, they won't assign homework, but it's there. Like they won't tell you to do something, but like you're kind of expected to do it. So for example, they were really just talking about review, like if whatever you went over in class that day, not like in your head the next day, it's probably not gonna be great for you in the long run. I mean, I don't think it's that intense in like the classes I'm taking, but I do see it a little bit. The professors do reassure us like it's okay if you're still making mistakes on this one thing we went over because we're going to go over it again eventually. And they will usually say, "Oh, by the way, for tomorrow, do this, this, and this." And they're not going to check for it. They just kind of trust like you should be doing it for your own good. This is what's going to allow you to pass your exam eventually. So, in a way, you're not required to do the homework because they're not checking for it. It's not going to bring down your grade at all. But you should be doing it because you do need that practice and that review before you head into the next class. So I think that's something that's a bit different.
I like that because then if you do get something 100%, then it's like you don't have to do busy work. But if you don't
Mm-hmm.
get it, then you got to have discipline. What about are you involved in any clubs or orgs on campus?
I am not. I wanted to, but at the point that they had the event where you could check out the different clubs they had,
Mhm.
I had already signed up for two volunteering
Mhm.
opportunities. One allows me to be kind of like an assistant in an English class. Some students are doing it, like some USAC students are doing it, like in high schools. Mine is technically it's not a high school class. The students are so nice. They gave me a presentation explaining the
Oh.
French education system. They made this graph and everything, comparing it to the
Mhm.
United States and explaining it. It was so thoughtful. And I need to review it because I understood it as they explained it to me, but I can't be tested on it. Like I can't explain it again. They're on a
Mhm.
B2 level in English.
Mhm.
Their English is great. French people, the standard you hear that they're setting for people who speak French, which I don't think is like entirely accurate because they're really nice even if you're making mistakes, but they
Mhm.
have that standard for themselves in English. I think their English is great, but they have a standard for themselves that they want to reach. They want to get a lot better.
Mhm.
And yeah, I don't know. It's nice interacting with them, and I feel like I learned so much about Lyon. Talking to them, they want to talk to you a lot about the city, and they just have
Mhm.
questions for you, and they just want to talk to you. So I think that was a great way to get to know the people here a little bit. And then
That's
the other thing
awesome.
I'm doing is working with this organization that its goal is basically to get kids into reading. and they really like using bilingual books for
Mm-hmm.
that. So basically, I'm like translating children's books, and sometimes I'll work with another student. We'll work on a book together to translate it, either from English to French or French to English.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah, I learned a lot of vocabulary and like sayings and things doing that. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And I could have also been a reader for that and read to the students. And I kind of still want to because I don't know, when I'm like translating, I'm trying to figure out if I can use a certain phrase and just have to express myself a certain way when reading it. I just think it'll be really fun to read to kids.
Sounds so awesome. Well
Yeah.
done. You've really like plugged yourself into Lyon.
Do you
I'm
think
proud of you,
so? I
girl.
was really
Good job.
scared the first several weeks. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, how am I supposed to find people to like force to talk to me? um,
Oh man.
yeah. So when they started, bringing things up that you can do like extra that might get you to talk to some locals, I was like, yes, I'm in. So yeah, but I was very worried about that the first few weeks.
Last question is, how do you think right now, obviously it's not over, but how do you think like this time that you're having right now in Lyon is going to influence your future? Like your job, or do you think you want to do your master's now? What are you thinking? Do you have any little bubbles, new dream bubbles in your head after your first 9 weeks in France?
For a reason I don't really understand, I am a little bit more inclined to pursue grad school. Not immediately, not
Oh,
soon, not anytime
yeah.
soon. I feel like I'm getting more momentum from this.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking forward to things that I'm gonna do after this semester.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was nice because after a lot of years in college, you lose a lot of momentum and it gets really freaking hard. So,
Yeah. Well, and being
um,
in the same place, I mean, I think that's one of the coolest things about study abroad and why it applies to like anybody seeking like change or momentum or to just keep learning, because it doesn't matter where you're at in life, resetting and going and moving to a new place with like the little safety net of the program, it just like gives you that like oomph to prioritize what you like. You're like, I'm here for a limited amount of time. I'm going to maximize that time. I want to get better at French. I'm going to speak French every day. I want to meet locals. I need to make sure I'm doing that every day. It doesn't matter when you do it. Like our phenomenal classmate who had like 17 bachelor's degrees, had taught for 40 some years. She could study abroad and she would also still have changed because it completely transforms your perspective. So I'm excited to see what you do next.
yeah, I'm really curious about how I'm gonna look back on the semester. The first several weeks, I was, oh my gosh, I didn't miss back home. I don't miss Vegas. I don't miss
Yeah.
anyone, honestly. But then it started hitting me like a few
Mhm.
days ago. I had a dream I went back to Vegas and I liked how my hair looked because that's the thing that bothered me about Lyon. It's so humid and I didn't know how to do my hair for the first like
Yeah.
month. So I don't know, I started missing it a little bit and now I don't know, now I wonder
Yeah.
what the next like month and a half is gonna look like. But yeah,
The goals are a good way
because
to make sure time doesn't fly by and surprise you, though.
it's kind of
That's
scary
super
though, because I
awesome.
don't know, like I know that, but then at the same time, I'm like, oh my God, I don't even want to count the days. Like I don't want to see how much time is left.
I refuse FOMO culture. I refuse it aggressively. I didn't see, there's a couple other things that I feel like everybody did. I didn't go to the Roman amphitheater. I walked past it a bunch of times, but I just thought, like, I just in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm living in the moment, and that was good, right? I don't have regrets about how I spent my time, but there are a couple things that I wish I had like noted, like, oh, I need to go ahead and decide to go do that thing today because otherwise, there won't be time. So, but it's also I can go back. Like, I will just go
Honestly, and
back.
I wish, and I am starting to get into that because
Yeah.
honestly, at the end of the day, I'm not a fan of museums. Like I there's so many like important or like
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like pretty big museums here. But I can't enjoy a museum, man. I don't know what it is. And I say that
It's,
as a history major. Like
I mean, there's something for
they're just
everybody.
not
And
fun to me.
that's fine.
Um,
You've already been to the Le Parc de la Tête d'Or, which I think is gorgeous. I wish that I had gone to even sooner. I think I didn't see it until maybe my second week there. And I still was like, oh, why didn't I come the first week? I love how big it is. And
yeah.
honestly, just walking next to the rivers. I spent
Mhm.
so much time walking in Lyon and finding a new cafe to study in and enjoying the Frenchiness of it
And I
all.
wish I would be doing more of that because I feel like there's
Yeah.
like I was trying to cross things off a list a little too much, which I
Yeah.
normally would not care about, but I
Yeah.
don't know, I just did. And now I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm
Balance.
definitely gonna like chill now. And I mean,
Yeah.
and by now I mean after this week because
Mm-hmm.
we're on break right now and I am gonna go to like 3 cities this week.
Oh, wow. Where
which
are you
are kind
going?
of over Po
Okay.
and
That's exciting.
yeah, and Bilbao and
Ooh.
Madrid.
Oh, you're going to all our other program locations.
Oh yeah, I forgot you guys have a program in Madrid
Oh my
and in
goodness.
Bilbao.
Yeah, no, Sara is the resident director in Madrid, and in Bilbao, it's Ibon, and he's amazing. And Sara is super fantastic. She was the first resident director who started the program in Lyon.
Oh.
That's really fun that you'll be there in their spots and also have so much fun, and you'll be able to speak Spanish, which I think is going to make your brain feel like it's somersaults after being surrounded by French. I know that you speak Spanish comfortably, but just switching for me is, especially when it's a non-English, like my brain starts to like do hiccups.
I mean, even today I was walking to campus and the student said something to me and I didn't catch it at first and I looked at them kind of confused and they were like, I'm talking to you. And I was like, this is ¿qué? And I just
Yeah.
said what in Spanish because I don't know, confusion. But it turned out I think they were Mexican. Their accent sounded like from Mexico. So I don't know. I like to believe my subconscious just picked up on the fact that they were a Spanish speaker, but no, when my brain like glitches in French, it switches to
Yeah.
Spanish.
Do you know any cool, fun slang that you can pass on to me?
Like French
for it.
slang?
Sure.
No. And I was talking to this French girl the other day. Not the other day, it was quite a few days ago, but
Yeah.
she was telling me, like, she was teaching me all the slang.
Oh my
The thing with
gosh.
slang is I don't really try to hold on to it because I don't think I've grasped French enough to be able to code switch or anything. So I don't want to learn,
Okay.
I don't want to learn slang and then start using that with my professors.
I got you.
The only thing I remember is être un rat, which is like to be cheap, basically
Oh.
to be stingy and like cheap. And I don't know why I caught on to that. So like that is the only thing
I feel like
that I've
because it's
learned.
got a little bit of shade to it.
It's just very relevant, I think, to being like a college student and to being
Yeah.
abroad and like having a budget but not really respecting your budget. And so like that's kind of always like on the back of your mind.
Yeah.
So I think that's why my subconscious just chose to hold on to that term or to that phrase. And I just thought it was really funny. So that's
That's
the only slang I've learned that I've remembered.
Thank you for taking the time to chat with me today.
Thank you.
That's
This was
it.
fun. And I like talking. So it was nice.
Good. I'm glad. I just think it's so awesome that you're in Lyon right now. I want to do this with more students while they're abroad because it's just different. Yeah. Anyways, okay. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It was really nice catching up. All right, bye.
Thank you for listening to the Study Abroad Pod, a podcast brought to you by the University Study Abroad Consortium. Please listen, subscribe, and review us on Buzzsprout or wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow USAC on all your favorite social media channels at Study Abroad USAC. And if you have an idea for a future episode or want to learn more about study abroad, you can email us at studyabroad@usac.edu.